Hey everyone, Zach here. Welcome to day number 6 of the 6 rules for creating retention in your MLM team. Now, obviously, if you haven't listened to the first 5 rules and the umbrella rule for all of this, go back, watch those videos, and then come back to this video. So rule number 6 is do not mess with anyone's ego. Now, again, just like all these rules, this one can sound very obvious and maybe even controlling depending on how you're looking at it, but it's very, very important that you don't screw with other people's ego. Ego is the most destructive yet most powerful force inside of man and inside of woman. So if you can make sure that people's egos are protected, it'll work for your good. If you hurt their egos, it's going to work to your detriment. So here's what I mean by this. You always want to be edifying people and building them up and not shutting them down. A lot of times people can shut their own team members down without even knowing it, right? So let me give you an example. If someone on my team is doing basically nothing right, I'm not going to talk about them badly. I'm only going to talk about them doing the right things, if they're doing anything. So, for instance, if I want to talk about Joe here, and Joe has literally done nothing right since he got in the business, but the one thing he has done is purchased a product pack when he enrolled, which everyone does, but let's just say that's the one thing he's done. If I'm ever going to talk about Joe in a public setting, or even in a private setting, in almost every scenario, I'm going to talk about that product pack that he purchased. Man, I'm so excited for him. When Joe got in, he got started with the product pack with this, this, and this. Dude, when you use those products, it's going to be amazing. When you share them, it's going to be amazing. When you recruit people to the team, you're going to be able to tell them about the products that you took. Dude, that's so awesome. That's it. And then I'll maybe talk about, a vision cast for him. But I'm not going to talk about all the stuff he's not doing, because that's going to hurt his ego, and also it's not going to give him anything, good, right? Now, in private, I might need to correct him. I might need to actually hold him accountable to the things that he's supposed to do. I'll still bring up the good stuff, but I'll hold him accountable there. But not in public, especially, because that in public is where you bolster egos or you hurt them. So in private, I'll hold him accountable, but I'm not going to hold him accountable in front of a huge group of people. So that's number 1. Number 2 about talking about people's ego is not putting them down in public. I kind of just mentioned that, but let me give you an example, because a lot of us can kind of screw this up without knowing it, especially if we come from a world where, maybe like a frat or a sorority world, maybe we're coming from a sales position where kind of everyone's sort of a little bit, kind of jabbing each other all the time or anything like that. You don't want to do that in a public setting with your team. So let me give you an example. Let's say it's Joe's, first, he just got registered last week, and, he comes into the Facebook group, he comes onto the Zoom calls, and he's like, dude, so glad to be here, man, I'm going to blow this up, I'm going to be a chairperson, and, I'm going to be a chairperson in 1 year, I'm going to be this in 1 month, I'm going to be making 10 grand a month in 6 months, I'm so excited, you guys just wait and see. Let's say he posts all that in the group. Now, obviously, that's a little ridiculous, it's a little bit ego-driven on his part, but we've seen this before, right? And you've probably seen people who've gotten super fired up when they get in the business and they, tell you all these crazy things they're going to do. And of course, as a more seasoned person, I'm looking at him like, okay, like you can talk all you want, but walk the walk. That's what I'm thinking. But let's just say he does it. Now, I'll fan that flame. I'll make sure that he knows what it takes to actually get what he said. But let's say he introduces himself on the Zoom call that week and he just says all the same things, right? Very confident, whatever. Then it's 2 weeks later. 2 weeks later, he's on the Zoom call, and like most people get started in network marketing, they have a rough first few weeks. Most of the time, it's not the most glorious thing in the world. And let's say he gets on the Zoom call, and nothing really that good happened. And we're like, hey Joe, why don't you share, man, about about all the stuff that's been happening in the past 2 weeks? He gets on stage and he's like, well, I reached out to some people and. Like this guy was interested, and this guy called it a pyramid scheme, and my parents honestly aren't really that supportive, and I just wanted to help them out, but they're like kind of telling me this is pretty bad, man, and yeah. Now, pause. Worst thing you can do is treat it like a frat boy, right? Which is like, oh, dude, I told you, man, not as easy as it seems, right? Oh, man, hey, you'll get there, buddy. Mr. 20 presentations a week. Yeah, you thought you could get, yeah, man, if it was that easy, bro, we'd all be rich, right? Hey, no worries, dude. That's the worst thing that you could do, because he went from all the way up here to all the way down here, and then you just freaking pummeled him. That's destroying his ego. Now, I give you a more overt example, but that can happen in subtle ways, too. Your downline doesn't do something that they said they're going to do, and you kind of like, you say, hey man, kind of harder than it looks, isn't it? Hurts his ego, hurts their ego. They come up and say, oh man, I try to sell a product, but no one will take the sample. Be like, oh yeah man, but you can't really do that kind of stuff. Hurts their ego. Be smart about how you respond to people. Again, in a private setting, you can hold them accountable, you can correct them. I'm not saying don't coach your people by any means. I'm more saying in a public setting, don't say stupid things that can hurt someone's ego. You do that, that person is not going to want to be around you. They're not going to want to be around you. Guess where they're going? Out of the business. They're gone. So don't mess with people's ego. Sound good? All right, well, this is a short one, pretty self-explanatory, but don't screw it up as it can really hurt your retention badly if you do. But that being said, we are all done with the 6 rules of retention. What I want you to do is hit the like button, leave a comment down below. Let me know which rule was most impactful for you and what you learned. And also hit the subscribe button so that you can receive more of these videos as they come out. Last 2 things. If you haven't joined the private discussion group yet, I want you to go to MLMsalesfunnels.com and join that group. That's MLMsalesfunnels.com, where we talk about these tactics and also using funnels to grow our MLM team. If you want to get a jump start on how to actually use funnels to grow your MLM team, there's a free resource called the MLM Rebels Blueprint. You can get that at MLMRebelsBlueprint.com. It's a free resource where you can learn exactly what we do to recruit more people in some days and some weeks than some people do all year long. So again, that's MLMRebelsBlueprint.com. So anyway, hopefully you have an amazing day. Hopefully this series was helpful for you. And with that, we'll see you all very soon. Thanks so much.